All right. Good evening, community. Got a little bit of a late start tonight. Been a busy day, but here to talk about cold plunging. Spoke about cold plunging briefly on Friday's live, and wanted to get our Sunday sit down in this week to really deep dive into the pros and cons of cold plunging. Cold plunging's got a lot of press recently. You've got a lot of people like the Wim Hof and Wim Hof method. It's very popular on podcasts, on some of these more proactive, preventative wellness podcasts. Is talked about a lot. Talk about a lot of the benefits, but not a lot of the caveats that come along with cold plunging. So that's what we're here for, and that's what I'll give you this evening. So we talked on Friday. A lot of the pros of cold plunging for reduced muscle soreness and inflammation, improved circulation, enhanced mental well-being, some resilience of the body, being able to adapt to a lot of those cold stresses, gives us this what we call hormetic effect, or the ability to establish hormesis, and improves the body's response to stress over time. And then some potential immune system benefits. Potential drawbacks include cardiovascular stress, risk of hypothermia. It's not suitable for everyone. There's some things that for people that have a condition called Raynaud's phenomenon, or severe asthma, or other circulatory issues, they may experience some adverse effects from the sudden cold exposure. So it's important to consult with us or your healthcare provider before you start a cold plunge regimen. Cold plunging can also, people can experience some discomfort and some pain. I know that I still do that from time to time, and I'm a fairly experienced cold plunger. So, I always tell people, especially when they're first starting out, that the first 15 seconds or so are pretty rough because you try to catch your breath and kind of settle down into it. The middle part is not so bad, but then that last 20 to 25 seconds or so that you're in there is really kind of puts, you start to feel some pins and needles in the hands and in the feet and the ankles. And that, to me, that's always a kind of a sign that I just need to get out. I don't ever cold plunge more than 3 minutes. I've never seen any research that supports going longer than 3 minutes, but some people, I think, take it as a kind of a tough test to see how long they can stay in there. That's up to them. But we don't recommend anything longer than 5 minutes. And like I said, I don't typically go any longer than 3 minutes. So, and it's just like I just feel like I get the benefit of it. I don't. I've tried to stay in there longer. It's not comfortable for me, and I don't feel like I got any kind of lingering or exaggerated effect from doing that any longer. So anyway, that's some of the potential drawbacks of cold plunging. But I wanted to do something a little bit different with this one because with this Sunday sit down, because there's a lot of these things that we talk about here are kind of subjective or kind of anecdotal on my part. I've tried a lot of things. I've done a lot of these therapies that we talk about. They work good for me, but I want to be able to provide some scientific evidence and maybe some literature that is available out there for you to help you make a more informed decision when you're selecting these therapies. Again, cold plunging is commercially available. You can go to stores and buy a cold plunge. There's lots of YouTube videos on how to make your own home cold plunge, but I just feel like there's some issues that can come along with that, and I feel like the responsibility of us promoting these therapies also comes with the responsibility of us to educate on them, and that's what we're doing these for. So, that being said, as cold plunge in particular, one of the cons of cold plunging is that there's very limited, robust scientific evidence that it does anything. A lot of these um, kind of things that we say that it does are not necessarily theoretical. They're difficult to measure. For instance, the release of norepinephrine and the 200% increase in dopamine that's been kind of quoted before, those things can be measured, but it's very, very difficult and very, very subjective in the nature of the experience. So while many benefits are reported anecdotally and supported by some preliminary studies, comprehensive clinical research still needs to be done. And not all claimed benefits are universally accepted or proven in these larger scale studies. So cold plunging, like I said, does offer several different benefits, from muscle inflammation, enhancing circulation, boosting mental clarity and resilience. And for me personally, I love it. I do it every day. And the last part, the mental clarity and the resilience part of it, is the reason why I do it. Do I feel like I get less colds or flu symptoms or something like that? I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like I'm generally a healthy guy. I don't seem to catch a lot of the community-wide illnesses. Is that attributable to my cold plunging habit? I don't know. Maybe. But we can also kind of make some loose associations with that as well. That does my somewhat healthier lifestyle, per se, contribute to my lack of community-borne illnesses? Maybe, but I do cold plunge every day. I do feel like I don't get the typical colds and flus that are kind of going around and bothering people. However, these advantages do come with some risks, particularly with those with underlying health conditions, and balancing the benefits with the potential drawbacks. And practicing cold plunges safety is essential for maximizing the positive effects, i.e., come and talk to us or do it under our supervision. We do have a lot of seasoned cold plungers that come into the clinic, and they'll come in, or like, hey Joe, and Joe will walk back to the cold plunge because Joe knows what he's doing, and we've sit through Joe and we've kind of trained them up to the level where they can do that stuff. But if you're new to cold plunging, we will sit back there with you. We'll talk you through the breathing process. We will give you some kind of guided imagery to kind of, help calm your breath down and help you enjoy the experience as much as possible, especially that first time, because we want you to continue that practice, because we do know that there is benefit to it, but we don't want to scare anybody off from doing it. Okay, all right. So what I want to do again with the cold plunge process, and I'll post these in the comments of the video, is that I want to talk about the physiological mechanism that happens with that, and then I want to provide you with the literature references that you can go and look for yourself and make your own informed opinion. So, number one, the physiological mechanism that happens with cold plunging is this vasoconstriction and vasodilation cycle. So the immersion in the cold water constricts everything down. When you get out and your body starts to rewarm itself, the vessels will then dilate, and that cycle helps flush out a lot of metabolic waste and improve circulation, which is one mechanism that's behind the reported reduction in muscle soreness. Okay? And that is from a study from 2012 by a researcher with last name Leeder. I'll post that in there in the comment section, or in the subject heading of the video. So we talked about the constriction and the dilation, letting your body naturally do that. We have a lot of people that will cold plunge and then kind of jump right into the sauna. The benefits of the cold plunging comes from your body's naturally trying to rewarm itself. The opposite way, if you start in the sauna and then jump in the cold plunge, there's a little bit, theoretically there's a little bit more benefit to that, but I would not recommend people doing the plunge first and then getting in the sauna, because you kind of dilute the effect of what the cold plunge is doing. The number two thing that we talked about was the inflammatory response and muscle recovery. So cold water immersion is thought to reduce inflammation by limiting the release of pro-inflammatory cytokines. Cytokines are released anytime your body is under any kind of particular stress or inflammatory process. There's several studies that have been shown that athletes experience less delayed onset muscle soreness, otherwise known as DOMS or DOMS, after cold water exposure, possibly due to a reduction in the inflammation and edema. And we all know this. This is typical first aid stuff. You have an injury, what do? You put ice on it. You have some swelling, you put ice on it. Again, baseball guy, pitcher comes out, put ice on their shoulder, put ice on their elbow, and we calm all that inflammation down really quickly so they can go back out there, or so that person can return to activities as quickly as possible. Number 3, the activation of the sympathetic nervous system. So the shock of cold water triggers the sympathetic nervous system response. This increases a really big increase of norepinephrine and endorphins, which may contribute to pain relief and improved mood. I can tell you firsthand, it improves my mood. I can drastically, I'm going to say drastically, it's probably a little bit dramatic, but I can tell the difference in the days that I do it and I don't do it. And maybe a little bit more, I don't know, maybe there may a little bit, situations carry a little bit more negativity than if I do it. So again, anecdotally, very much so. The sympathetic nervous system response, that like fight or flight kind of phenomenon that we've all heard about. When you sit down into cold water and you sit down and you get up, kind of up to a nipple line, which is what we recommend, that will kick in, especially the first several times that you do it. Then you get kind of used to it, and then once you're used to it, then you get really brave and you can start cranking down the temperature a little bit, and then you'll experience that again. So that's a very real thing. The rush of norepinephrine in the beginning, and then the all-day release of dopamine is very much felt. That is referenced in a 2008 study by a gentleman named Shevchuk that hypothesized that cold exposure, even adapted cold showers, could have an antidepressant effect by stimulating those pathways. So, the number 4 thing, the hormetic stress, or achieving that hormesis, cold plunging serves as this controlled stressor, and that's what hormesis is. So, short-term stress can prompt beneficial adaptations over time, and this might enhance the body's resilience to other stressors. So again, very theoretical, but there is references from a 2016 study that detail how controlled cold exposure might mediate recovery processes, post-exercise, and then balancing beneficial stress against overexposure risks. So there's a lot of these claims that are backed by scientific literature. Again, I'll put those in the show notes and in the post for the content. I always encourage people, if you want to get super nerdy about these and really make an informed decision on these things, always look for yourself. That is what Optimize You is about. We're about patient-centric, patient healthcare and healthcare delivery. But also, I cannot express to you enough how important it is to do these things under the guidance of people that do this a lot. So that's why it's very easy for you to go out and for some people to go out and buy their own cold plunge, or go to Rural King and buy a trough, or put ice in a bathtub, or whatever. But that's probably not the safest way to do it, especially if you're doing it kind of uninformed. So we have, again, the 2 different kind of cold exposures. We have cryo and we have cold plunging. At Optimize You, we'd love to have you come in, educate, make an appointment, come in and talk to us and try it out for yourselves. Any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where you're going to get a lot of this content coming up. And also, very, very, very special. I'm incredibly excited to do next week's live and lots of vlogging from an event that we will be at next week. So next week's live will not come from a clinic, but I will not tell you where it's coming from because it's going to be a surprise. Also, I am very proud to announce that we are the official health and recovery facility for University of Evansville Aces Athletics. Very, very exciting things coming out with Optimize You. We could not do it without you guys. Thank you all for your support. Have a great week, and I cannot wait to meet with you guys on Friday. So be sure to tune in on Friday and watch out for our YouTube updates, and have a good week.